happy and you know it, clap your hands. That is how the song goes. It doesn't say, if you have quality of life and you know it, clap your hands. Don't. Or, if you have pleasure in life and you know it, clap your hands. No. Quality of life and pleasure is not happiness. Quality of life is when you have less traffic jam where you live, or low crime, then you say you have quality of life. Pleasure is you just had your favorite ice cream or your chunky cookies, or you're driving a fancy car. It's pleasure. Quality of life and pleasure is not happiness. The happiness that the song talks about, you all know it, you all lived it. Like when you were absorbed in play with your friends, you were happy. Or you were sharing love and togetherness with your beloved ones, you were happy. Or you lose yourself in nature and become one, you are happy. And I grew up knowing that happiness. So imagine how confused I became when in my 20s I started traveling abroad, and I came across a lot of people who would confuse quality of life and pleasure with happiness. Happiness it's your original nature. We know that from the experts. It is your true being. It is not a transient experience or an emotion. And the locus of true happiness is inside you. True happiness is not dependent on anything that's outside of you, external to you, like that delicious ice cream that you just had, or the less traffic jam, for Chennai, the less traffic jam on your roads. The locus is inside you. That is true happiness. And I carried this confusion because of the many different definitions or understandings of happiness that I found across the globe. And I carried that confusion with me for many years. In my mid-30s, I got involved with a center that invested extensively on research and development on socially important topics. And one of the topics that we invested in was happiness. A bit later, around the turn of this decade, we had a profound breakthrough in our research. A breakthrough that dramatically changed my life. We discovered, or we uncovered, 4 levers of true happiness. Let me take you a little bit through those 4 levers. The first of the 4 levers is the inner state of being inspired. And being inspired is a state where you see and experience everything around you with fresh eyes. Children are very often in that state. They're filled with awe and wonderment with all the little things in life, like a little rock or a dead bug. They see magic and miracle in everything. That is the state of being inspired, the first of the 4 levers of true happiness. The second one is the inner state of being abundant. And this is a state where, you look around and you see possibilities and opportunities everywhere, where others don't see them. You're positive, you're optimistic. And I've got a funny story that lays out this state beautifully. This is a story of a father and 2 sons. The younger son, a little boy, he was perpetually in this state of being abundant. Positive, optimistic. And that was getting on the nerves of his father and his older brother. So one day, the father and the older brother, they decide, you know what? We've got to teach this boy a lesson. We've got to bring him down to reality. So, when the boy was off to school, the father and the older brother, they got this big cart full of horse dung, and they dumped it into this little boy's room. Much later, the little boy comes back from school, opens the door to his room, and he sees all this horse dung. Bottom to up, horse dung. The boy pauses for a moment, drops his bag, and starts eagerly digging through all that horse dung. And the father is confused. Son, what are you doing? And the boy replies, with all that horse dung in there, there's got to be a horse somewhere. That is the state of being abundant. The second of the 4 levers of true happiness. The third one, you will all know this is the inner state of being in service. And this is a state where, everything that you do, everything that you say, your thoughts are all in service of a greater good. And you have no expectations of anything in return. You're doing it for the pure joy of doing it. And I have a personal story from my life where, I lived in that state of being in service. I lost it and had to make a tough decision to gain it back. For 15 years of my life, I've been offering personal growth events around, all for free. That's how I started. Then somewhere along the way, I decided I'm going to put a price tag to this service. But before that, I was offering this service because every cell in my body yearned to be in service. It brought me immense joy. The day I put the price tag on it, gone. That state of being in service, gone. My service lost its meaning. And resentment started to grow. And I carried that resentment inside me for 5 years. Then one day I decided, you know what? I want to reclaim the meaning of my service, so I took the price tag away. The very next day, I was back in that state of being in service. Everything that I was offering was filling me with infinite joy. You all experience this experience. When you've given yourself in service to your children, expecting nothing in return, or in service of your spouse or your parent, you're being in service. That state is the third lever of true happiness. The fourth lever, is the inner state of being aware. And this is a state where you're aware, you're self-aware of your thoughts, words, actions, your values, and you're aware of everything that is around you. There's a beautiful parable from Amar Chitrakatha that I read when I was a child, the story of the elephant and the 6 blind men. These men, they've never seen an elephant, and they're brought to an elephant. So one of these blind men touches the trunk of the elephant and says, "Oh, the elephant is like a trumpet." Another man touches the tusk and says, "Oh, the elephant is like a rounded sword." Third person touches the leg of the elephant and says, "Oh, the elephant is like a pillar." The fourth person touches the curved back of the elephant and declares, "The elephant is like a leathered throne." If only they had their eyesight, they would have realized that the elephant is all of that they said and even more. And being aware is that state where you can see what you can experience and what you can't. And in that moment of seeing it, experiencing it, you feel this deep sense of joy, love, warmth inside. That state of being in service is the fourth, the last lever of inner happiness. So allow me to summarize. I've noticed two reasons why happiness is elusive for many people, if not most people. One is, many people confuse quality of life and pleasure with happiness. And the second reason is, many people just don't know what are the true levers of happiness. In 2016, the Fontys University in the Netherlands, they did a study of nearly 100 people of different age groups and demography. And the study confirmed indeed that these 4 states contribute to true happiness. So, if you're happy knowing the 4 levers of happiness, clap your hands. Thank you.